he said to me, there is far more life in the universe than you can possibly imagine. And I think there were two reasons why my guide took me here, was to let me to tell people that Earth is not the only inhabited planet. And the second reason was that Earth is not the only place we can go to have a lifetime. There are apparently unlimited numbers of worlds where we can have lives on. And when I was a kid, I grew up watching the original Star Trek with Captain Kirk. Do you remember that show?
Yes,
I
very much.
I loved that
I
show. I
loved
would
it
come
too. Yeah.
yeah, I would come home from school and I would watch reruns every day in the afternoon. And I always believed that there had to be more out there in the universe than just this planet. And something I like to share with people, because I'm such an astronomy fan. I learned a lot about astronomy since I had my NDE. And when we look at where we are in the universe, we're in the Milky Way galaxy. And they estimate that just the Milky Way alone has 100 billion planets in it and 400 billion stars. And distances are so vast in space that how astronomers measure time is by how far light travels in a year. Because light is the fastest speed that we as humans know, which is 184,000 miles a second. So if we had one ship that could travel at the speed of light, it would take 99,000 years for that ship to get to the other end of just our galaxy. And here's the thing that blew my mind. They think that there are over 2 trillion galaxies in the universe. And if every galaxy has 100 billion planets, can you imagine how many worlds are out there? It's a strong. I can't even comprehend that. And that's when I realized from my experience that we can have lifetimes on an innumerable number of planets. Earth is only one.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite part about the NDE.
Did they show you any lifetime on any other planet of yours?
No, no, the ones they showed me were just the ones here on Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, really good question. And so we finish up in the planetarium, and then he takes me to another building. And this one again was a really large, long building, but it didn't have any columns on the side. It had columns in the front. And you know what it looked like? Have you ever seen the Supreme Court building in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah.
It has the columns in the front and all the steps leading up to it. That's what this building looked like. So he takes me to the inside, and when we get inside, it's a library, and I can see all these bookshelves everywhere, like 20 or 30 feet high, with books everywhere. And my guide said, everything you've ever wanted to learn, you can learn at this library. And there were people everywhere. There were people looking for books. There were people studying. There were people visiting with each other. And he takes me over to the left-hand side of this library to these, what I would call our study rooms, what we would call study rooms. He walks me up to this one of the rooms, and there was a woman sitting there with her back to me. She had jet black hair, straight black hair that went down to her waist, and she was wearing kind of a purple kind of a gown or a robe of some kind, and she was watching a video screen. And back in 1987, the televisions that we had were these huge, big, gigantic TVs. They were really thick and really heavy. What she was watching was what we would call was a flat screen TV mounted on the wall.
Okay.
It was about 50 or 60 inches long. And I was like, I've never seen anything like this before. And my guide said, look at what she's watching. So I got closer, and I thought she was watching a movie. And what it was Native American Indians on horseback fighting against the United States cavalry on horseback. And they were having this battle. And she was watching this battle, and I thought, oh, she's watching a movie. And my guide said she's actually watching history of an event that happened 200 years ago. And I thought, how is that possible? We didn't have video cameras back then. How could she be watching something that happened 200 years ago? And my guide said everything gets recorded.
Recorded, yes.
And I cannot for the life of me understand how that is possible. But
So,
it's God. Everything about our lifetimes are recorded. So
yeah,
what this girl was doing, she was interested in learning about that particular time of Earth's history. And she went to the library, went to one of these rooms, and you can watch anything that happened in history. And I thought that was just absolutely fascinating. I can't wait to get back because there's so many things I want to learn about.
right. So when you said that there were people, I'm assuming they're souls, and
Yeah.
these spirit guides, are they like our same height, or what I have heard is that these are very, very tall, the light beings, kind of.
I don't know. I never, and I don't know why I didn't do this, but I never turned around to look at my guide. I never looked. He was just talking to me the entire time in my ear. So
Okay,
I don't know how tall. Everybody I saw, though, like all the people that were in that walkway and all the people in the library, I would say they were just average size. I
hmm,
didn't see, I didn't see any angels. I just saw ordinary, everyday people.
okay,
So I don't know if there are tall beings. I don't know.
okay,
So
okay,
that was the library.
hmm,
The next place he took me to was something that I really liked a lot too. He took me to a castle, and it was a castle like you would see in England or France. This huge castle made out of stone, and it looked brand new, like it was just made. It was absolutely perfect. So he takes me to this castle, and he says, "Let's go in." So we go inside, and there's red carpet all over the floor, and you felt like royalty. And he explained to me that on the other side, people still learn. When we come into a lifetime, one of the main reasons we come here is to learn lessons, to experience things that we can't experience on the other side. And he said that if you didn't have a lifetime during medieval Europe, there are places on the other side where you can go to see what the buildings look like. And that's where he took me to, at this castle. And we walk in, and on both sides of the walls, there are paintings, life size paintings of all the people that had lived during that time period. Like one picture was King George, and it was a life size picture of what he looked like and also what he was wearing. And this went all the way down. You could see all these different people. Well, in front of every one of these paintings, there was a podium. And on top of the podium was a book. And the book was about that person's lifetime. So if you were on the other side and you wanted to learn about life in medieval Europe, you could go to this castle, you could see what they lived in, you could go look at their paintings, see what they looked like, then you could look at this book and read through it about their life here on Earth. So I'm standing there, and off to my right, I look over, and there's a woman who was walking down this circular staircase. And she walked down, she had kind of strawberry blonde hair, and she was wearing a kind of a tunic or a robe that was kind of peach color. And she walked up to me and she talked to me and she said, "Is there anything I can help you find?" And I said the stupidest thing to her that I still can't believe I said this. I said, "No thanks, I'm just looking." And it was like being in a shoe store that I'm just looking. I could have asked this girl anything, you know, who are you? Where am I? I thought I was supposed to be having surgery. What's going on? My guide said, on the other side, she is what we would call a professor or a teacher. and she loved everything about that particular era in Earth's history. She was like a historian. So if
Wow.
you wanted to learn about that particular time period, you could go talk to someone like her. So there, I just thought that was absolutely fascinating, absolutely incredible to see that.
Tell you her name?
No, I didn't even ask her. I didn't ask her. I was so shocked. I didn't know what to say.